What did I tell you guys? All the people freaking out about the add-on reductions and all the shit happening with add-ons. First of all, I think this game's going to be better without add-ons, personally. But Blizzard's already loosening up the restrictions on add-ons, right? They want you to be able to play with your favorite add-ons so long as those add-ons aren't telling you what to fucking do in the game. And that's what's happening now. Blizzard pulling back on their add-on restrictions. Let's see what this is all about here from ElvUI.
Okay everyone, we have huge news to talk about, because while we were focused on Legion Remix, some developments have went down on Midnight Beta. You see, early in the alpha, Blizzard utterly nuked add-ons. Later, Ian Hazzikostas revealed just how hardcore their new add-on philosophy really is. He said that the future they want for WoW is simple, one with absolutely no competitive advantage from add-ons.
Is that like a bad thing? I don't know, people really freaked out about it. Anyone who thinks that a competitive advantage via add-ons is a good thing or a healthy thing for the game, I think are tripping. They're tripping over their old saggy balls, because there's no way that that is a good thing for a game to have an outside source that can make you better at the game by telling you how to play the game. That's a ridiculous thought. And that disadvantages anybody who doesn't go and download the add-ons. And then those people get left out of content too, because people say, well, you need the add-on to play this optimally. And then it changes how the game's designed on top of that, right? Because then Blizzard's got to design the game knowing that the stupid-ass add-on's going to come in and trivialize a mechanic. So I just think it's just such a better way. Hi, how are you doing? The news summary. Often I like that because I often miss some of the... Yeah, Blackfire, no problem, man. Yeah, news will always go up on YouTube. Don't worry about it.
Whatsoever. They can make your game look different, but they can't do anything to make playing the game easier. And that is the hard line. And in some places,
we just finished going through it, actually.
For what it's worth, the majority of comments I saw were in support of all of this, though. I mean, sure, there was still plenty of backlash, but I'd say by and large numbers showed that Blizzard were making the right move. That being said, those aren't player numbers, those are sentiment numbers. People sharing opinions. Who knows how it would actually all feel when the real thing is out. And all of this makes what I'm about to tell you, rather confusing. But first, a huge shout out to my top boys over in the UK government, because now I get even more value for my subscription to today's sponsor, NordVPN.
NordVPN.
Because using the internet in the UK somewhat sucks right now, but with Nord, I just set my location a few miles down the road to Ireland, and then I'm
Look,
fine.
I mean, hey, you can use NordVPN right now, but you know what I heard not too long ago? I read an entire article about it. VPNs might become illegal because of this whole thing of the internet identity and all that shit, and governments wanting to be able to track shit. You know, take it how you want it with that. VPNs allow you to get around that stuff, and people keep saying, oh, VPNs are about to become illegal. I don't know.
But the Online Safety Act is not the only reason why I use Nord. Sure, there's the heaps of security, but with Nord, I can also access streaming libraries for other nations. I can browse sources that aren't available.
I think it'd be a hard one to enforce,
and
making them
I can
illegal.
exploit regional pricing, and that's the spicy one, because you can basically turn the dynamic pricing, which is often used by airlines and car rental companies, against them, and save loads of money, which actually makes NordVPN pay for itself. And at nordvpn.com/BellularWarcraft, you'll get 4 months for free on a 2-year plan that's backed by the 30-day money-back guarantee. And now, Nord are actually more than just a VPN. Threat Protection Pro is built into their app, and it gives you extra layers of security that cover malware, phishing, and loads of attack vectors that are commonly used in scams or data collection. It's all made simple with their desktop and mobile apps, so you can get started with 4 months for free and a 2-year plan at nordvpn.com/BellularWarcraft.
Here it is.
Okay, let's go. Over the last few weeks, UI developers have been trying to find ways around Blizzard's restrictions. And they've been successful. Using classifiers, they found a way to do custom color mob templates, not based on the mob's name, but ones based on other readable values. As an example, do you know that bosses are 2 levels above the game's max level? Well, add-ons can actually see the level of the mob you're fighting.
Makes sense.
Which makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So, if the add-on reads level 92, it can just give it the boss color. The same goes with mini-bosses, which are always level 91. This is mostly harmless, but...
yeah, see, this doesn't really give a combat advantage. This is not telling you to get out, stand over here, you know, group 3 go this way, group 2 go that way. It's not, that doesn't matter. A coloration is fine. And I don't think Blizzard ever intended to get rid of shit like that. I think they went ahead and over-purged and scorched the earth to get rid of all the add-ons, and then they said we'll start letting in things that we think is okay. I don't think changing the colors of health bars based on what the mob is one that they really care to get rid of.
Well, there certainly is more, and that's because they discovered other ways to color a caster mob's nameplate. So, they can change a nameplate color once it detects an interruptible cast. And better yet, there's a faster way to check, where units have invisible classes that add-ons can read, and for whatever reason, Blizzard flag casting enemies as paladins. So, if a mob is a paladin,
what the hell?
Technically, then the add-on will give it the caster color. If it isn't, then it knows to give it the melee color instead.
I mean, this is an interesting way to play, but I'll be honest, I'm probably going to just play without add-ons. I really just want to try to use the in-game shit. I know some of it's broken right now. Damage meters are still being worked on, stuff like Tidewell, you mentioned that in chat. I know some of that shit's still work in progress, but I do really want to try to play the game like the out-of-the-box version. Just strictly whatever the fuck Blizzard gives me, I'm going to use it, and I'm going to try to use it to my best ability. The interrupt cast stuff, that is something that Blizzard added in themselves, too. I think there's like a flaming animation or something when a cast is supposed to be interrupted, and it's an important one to interrupt. So that stuff is being built into the game. It just might not be the same visual, color change that you're used to or something. I'm going to give it a go. We'll see. Your streaming and play WoW skills are a work in progress.
Color instead. And that gives add-on users an obvious advantage. Even on their first time in a dungeon, they can spot casters and will be ready for interrupts. So in the midst of combat, you don't need to recognize the mob, you just need to see the color of the bar. This is what I would call an advantage. It's a minor advantage, but it is an advantage. And it gets really weird, because Blizzard laid out their philosophy fairly clearly, saying that customization is completely fine, that you can change the nameplate colors all that you want, but you just can't do anything that the base UI can't do. So you could change your nameplate colors in general, but not specific in a way that reacts to mobs. So what I just covered falls completely foul of Ian's own post.
It's true. See, this is one reason why I don't want to get back into add-ons too, is I feel like some of these things that are allowed right now, or starting to be allowed, are going to be unallowed again. Like Blizzard's going to go back through and be like, actually, we don't want you to use this add-on. And then you're going to get used to using it, and then you're going to have to get reused to I'd say just like don't play this game. Not don't play WoW, but don't play this game of, oh, I can use this add-on until Blizzard bans it. Just fucking learn to play the game without the damn add-ons. You'll be fine. I promise.
It falls foul of the add-on disarmament that he laid out for everyone to see. He even put it in bold. Add-ons should no longer offer competitive advantage in WoW combat. A competitive advantage can mean a lot of things, so he defines it like this, quote, they should not be able to make a player more likely to succeed in combat. Without a shadow of a doubt, then, having a more dangerous mob highlighted kind of crosses that line, doesn't it? Well, in a follow-up post made to the WoW UI dev Discord, Blizzard actually went into more depth. They literally called out, quote, colorizing unit nameplates based on priority. Yet, it actually turns out they're completely fine with what I just talked about. Now, to be fair, just classifying things as boss, mini-boss, ranged, melee, that's a kind of loose priority. As an example, you can't color a specific mob because it would have a more dangerous cast. You can't do that, but it is still a bit of a priority list. Now, this is obviously add-on only functionality that does not exist in base World of Warcraft that provides an advantage, meaning it breaks Blizzard's philosophy. So surely Blizzard will shut it down. No, actually, and this is where things really get interesting. Per the WoW UI developer Discord, someone at Blizzard has actually given them the thumbs up on this. It's a tentative thumbs up, but it is a thumbs up regardless. Now, it is worth saying that Blizzard could break this extremely easily. They could just make classification and levels
change
secret values, and that would be that. This workaround would be
raise the level to 93, make it a secret value. Yep, then this add-on can't track that shit.
Dead. But instead of doing that, Blizzard have, for now, said it's perfectly fine. They haven't said this in public. They have said it in private, though, which does make absolute sense, because they will want to have some wiggle room should they regret this. So let's try and figure things out. Blizzard have been fairly aggressive with their own UI. We started with almost nothing, but in one short year, we're now up to a nameplate rework, a raid frame rework, cooldown manager, and damage meters. Right. There's a chance then that Blizzard are allowing this because they actually plan on doing the same thing.
That's a good point. Maybe they plan on allowing you to colorize all these mobs however you want, and that's why they're allowing the add-on to do it right now. They just haven't implemented it themselves. Because he's right, at their core philosophy, the basic thing was, we'll allow you to use add-ons to do any of the stuff that's available in the game through the base UI. Anything beyond that shouldn't really be allowed.
Obviously, they
So
couldn't
maybe they're
say
going to add
that
this
to a
in.
bunch of add-on developers, but if this is something that the base game UI will be able to do, then
Right.
not killing it in a bunch of add-ons does actually make sense. And I think this is actually the best way for us to look at this. I mean, we've already got custom color options for raid frames, so it's not like Blizzard borrowing the same classification system for our nameplates would be a crazy thing. It would make sense. And if they did that, then we'd all have those features. And if that's going to be the case, then obviously they wouldn't go and kill this workaround that the add-on devs have found. But there's something else going on here. You see, all of this stuff went down a little while ago, and Blizzard haven't really moved on it yet. And what worries me the most is that this could be Blizzard finally giving add-ons an inch. And you know, give an inch, something, take a mile. We all know what the second part of that statement is. Basically, if you don't hold...
just the tip, take an inch. I know that he's what he's talking about, and I agree that if Blizzard does allow add-ons to start to creep in slightly, you know for a fact some of these add-ons are going to find the most weird ways to actually work into helping out with combat, and that's when they're going to get deleted. And that's why I'm saying, like, don't even try it. Why get into add-ons again if right now Blizzard's pulling off the Band-Aid for you? They're making you learn how to play the game without them. If anything, your best bet is to just give Blizzard feedback and have them react to that shit rather than download an add-on to fix something that you think they should have fixed. Because it might get removed. And then you're back to square one again, having to deal with the fact that you don't have the add-on.
your principles, then...
And anyone who says, oh, Blizzard not going to listen to feedback, they've been doing it the entire time. They've been listening to the feedback the entire time on every single add-on breaking thing they've added into the game. So just give them the damn feedback. They'll react to it, if enough people agree with you.
Everyone against those principles will take as much distance as they possibly can, which is an entirely reasonable thing for them to do. It's
always just an inch, that's right.
And that's something that's already happening in private. Yeah, cue the dramatic music. The add-on devs are coming for Hazakostas again. In that Discord, there were messages alluding to unintended ways of getting around restrictions. Earlier, I mentioned they can find interruptible casts, and, well, that's what they're talking about in public. There's maybe more things that they're talking about in private. Now, if Blizzard can say that they can have a little bit of going against the philosophy as a treat, that could embolden some developers.
Yeah.
Knowing, that they have the power to push Blizzard back, they could try to push the envelope and find more ways to take a bit of advantage and stuff it into the add-ons. Especially if they can do so in private, rather than where Blizzard have got eyes and ears in public. In the Discord when people are talking privately. And this is especially the case when many of the advocates for add-ons aren't thinking really as much about, say, the health of the game from Blizzard's perspective, and are more thinking about exactly their own priorities, or
their own crutches.
Maybe at worst you could say the sub-revenue they get for add-on strings. And honestly, that's fair, but we've got to remember how much skin people have got in the game. Now, I could go on here, right, but I don't want to just start a bunch of fear-mongering. They probably aren't hiding add-ons of mass destruction in the tunnels of Discord.
Right.
But what concerns me more is the why on Blizzard's end. Because I have a hunch here. I don't think the UI team ask Ian every time they have a question. He's already a busy dude. He's probably not getting a panicked call to check if some...
I'll say, working in corporate America, no, you do not go ask the fucking highest up person every single question you have. And the thing is, maybe they're allowing some of these add-ons, like he said early in the video, because their plan is to implement the same shit anyway, so they don't care if this add-on does this thing, they're going to do it too. So anything that's in the game can just be changed up by an add-on. So you got different colorations, that's fine. We're adding different colorations too. I think that's really the play here. Because even there's another add-on that I was very shocked that they were allowing. I forget what it's called, but it's the one that predetermines if you heal the person where their health is going to go to. Like, it kind of shows where their health's going to end up if the healing cast is finished. And that one was suddenly allowed again. And I'm like, the fuck? This is an advantage for healers, though. Any healer that downloads this add-on is going to have an advantage over anybody who doesn't have it, because knowing where the health is going to end up post your cast is a big deal, especially in raid and stuff. So that was suddenly allowed, and my thought was, oh, Blizzard's probably going to do this too. They're probably planning on implementing a healing determination estimation system as well, so it doesn't matter that the add-on's a thing.
Thing breaks the philosophy.
It's in the base UI, though. Whatever that add-on does, it adds something else to that. I don't know what it is. I don't heal in the game, but I know there were healers like, busting a nut and getting angry at the same time that this add-on was being allowed back in. Whatever its functionality is, it's being allowed. It's going to happen through Blizzard, too. I'm sure of it.
So what's more likely is that the UI team are making their own calls. They're the people working on the API stuff and communicating with the developers. It's possible that someone in that team said this is good and probably just didn't mind losing that inch of ground. Maybe they were even thinking that this would be great for colorblind players and convinced themselves. And hey, this would be great for colorblind players, I guess. It can be easy to lose sight, I suppose, of a core philosophy when you're working at full speed to make decisions, to finish the UI in time for launch, and to keep the developers reasonably happy at the same time. So there's a chance this is a genuine slip, and add-ons will actually feature, technically, a bit of advantage. Though sadly, we just won't know until we see how things continue to develop, especially close to launch. Every week of patch notes has got some new improvements, and many of them are specifically listed as being requested by add-on developers. This is actually good news, by the way. Like, regardless of the main story of this video, a lot of progress is actually being made on add-ons being able to customize the game in the way that won't give you a massive competitive advantage, but perhaps will allow you to be a little bit more comfortable when you're playing the game. Which, could be a competitive advantage, but I think that really would be splitting hairs.
You know what I'm excited for? I'm excited for a patch or something to hit, maybe even an expansion, where I don't have add-ons downloaded, so I'm not going to care about that first day when I log in and it goes, you have to disable your add-ons, the little message, disable your add-ons, right? This is out of date. It's going to break everything. I don't want to fucking deal with that. I don't want to. I just want to log in and play the game. So that'll be nice, I think, to be able to log in knowing that if anything's broken, it's just from Blizzard and not from an add-on.
So I think that's actually pretty good news. I hope they don't accidentally slip and reopen Pandora's box, especially because they've spent so much effort trying to close it in the first place. But before we wrap up, a bit of tangible news that a lot of you will actually feel in your game. There's been a major development as a result of all of this improvement to customization. Ages ago, ElvUI's developer threw in the towel. Basically, they threw in the towel as a complete overhaul add-on because it would just take too much work to essentially rebuild ElvUI into a much worse version of itself. So because of this, Lucky One publicly announced that ElvUI would be no more. Obviously, though, ElvUI's buff and debuff filtering has been a massive, you could say a massive cheat code for WoW UI over the years. I suppose I would also say it just helped the game be damn playable because a lot of Blizzard's designs almost kind of presuppose that you had good buff and debuff filtering.
True.
Now, we've made more than our fair share of videos.
Oh my god, you guys remember the Sylvanas fight? Again, Shadowlands was like peak WoW difficulty of rating. You remember the Sylvanas fight with the debuffs and the puddle drops and shit? Oh my god. That was a nightmare. And there were so many fights in Shadowlands that like Blizzard must have been assuming that we have add-ons downloaded because there was no way to do a lot of those fights without fucking add-ons at all. Now, you remember the Dreadlords fight, again, like just the ridiculousness of having to find the Dreadlords and vote and shit. Oh my god. What a shit show that entire raid was without add-ons. So, again, don't forget that you're not going to play the game as it currently stands without add-ons. Blizzard's plan is to change the way the game is designed so it can be better played without add-ons.
To use it for that reason, at least until Weak Wars became so dominant. So, at least the narrative, right, that Ian took ElvUI's head as a trophy.
The Gauntlet Run event, yeah.
His war on add-ons was a kind of compelling story. But it was never real, because Blizzard kept on grinding on improvements to the new API. And this now means that ElvUI is back. In a brief update from early December, Lucky One confirmed that development has already begun for Midnight, and many of the elements have already been patched for the beta.
I think I've always had an unpopular opinion on ElvUI, but I fucking hate the way it looks. That flat-ass, fucking washed-out look of the UI where it just looks like this standard, I don't know, Tetris-looking shit. There's no life to it. It's so bare. I hate it. I like my Griffins. I've said this before. I like the in-game aesthetic much more than the fucking ElvUI. It looks like a fucking cell phone UI. I don't know. It looks like something Apple designed. I have no idea. It just sucks. But a lot of people like it.
They've yet to decide on how to handle some real big parts, but the UI skinning stuff is back. So, if totally customizing the aesthetic of your UI is important to you, this is major news, and you are in luck. So here's where we stand overall.
Yeah, I don't want to customize
Nameplate
it.
customization is perfectly possible. Raid frames are still a little more up in the air, at least for now. They are making progress on both the API and on the base frame, so we're a little hopeful that it'll be in a good state for launch. Then ElvUI is back, so everything else will be customizable as well, and all of those things that Elv customizes, and now will be able to customize in Midnight, those are all like things that other add-on developers can hook into as well, right? So a lot of that customization gameplay stuff is going to be there. As of right now, there is only one known problem, and that is that Blizzard gave add-ons an inch of competitive advantage with the nameplate coloring. Whether or not that inch becomes a mile, well, all we can hope is that Blizzard makes some sort of clear decision that they're able to talk about in public so everyone knows what the hell's going on. Though funnily enough, if they did kill it, it would almost be the opposite of what they've done with housing just last week. And if you want to learn about how Blizzard finally got rid of the fun police, check out this video next.
Nice one overall from Bellular. Look, I mean, my philosophy on add-ons might not be the popular one, I have no idea, but I don't like add-ons. And I'm gonna try my best to play the game without any of them. I just want to play the game out the box the way it was intended to be played, and any add-on that currently, you know, works its way around or somehow gets around shit and gives you an advantage, all I would say to that is it's probably temporary. Either Blizzard's going to add it in themselves or they're going to stop you from using it. So I wouldn't really take advantage of that shit, but we'll see how things advance. So far, Blizzard's been loosening a little bit of the restrictions on add-ons. We'll see where it goes from here. A nice video, though, from Bellular.